From space, it looks like there's nothing there but water. 63 million square miles of it, covering a quarter of the Earth's surface. But the Pacific Ocean is strewn with tens of thousands of islands, coral atolls, jungle-clad mountains, and lava-spewing volcanoes. Rich in animal life, and an astonishing kaleidoscope of humanity. The Pacific has a past that is both fascinating and shocking. For centuries, we've been sold the idea that paradise on Earth is here. But in our uncertain, changing world, how much of that paradise is left? And what does the future hold? To find out, I'm going on an epic ocean-wide adventure in search of the real Pacific.
Join me and let's discover some of its most amazing islands.
The word Pacific means peaceful, but sometimes this ocean can be anything but. Many of its islands were born out of violent volcanic eruptions. 4 out of 5 earthquakes and tsunamis happen in the Pacific. And in summer, ferocious tropical cyclones blow destruction across the water. Life on this ocean can be fragile. Nowhere more so than on the islands I'm heading for now in the southwest Pacific, beginning in the Republic of Vanuatu on the island of Tanna. Nature is tough on Vanuatu. It's consistently ranked as the Earth's most disaster-prone nation. All of its 83 islands were born of fire spewed from a vast fault line in the Earth's crust. And here on Tanna, it's possible to see those terrifying forces still at work.
You can see that the dirt road we've been driving on isn't actually sort of dirt anymore. It's this black volcanic ash. And here, look, there's like a dune of volcanoes spilt through the jungle.
At last, round a corner,
Oh, wow, look at this.
stands Mount Yasur, one of the world's most active volcanoes.
Now it's got lunar. Look at this giant plume. Oh, my word.
It's also one of the world's most accessible. Looming over a barren ash plain, Mount Yasur reaches 360 meters above sea level. And as you climb towards the crater, the thing that hits you first is the noise. Whoa!
You know that sound, you think you've heard it before because it's like when a big wave hits the side of a cliff or something, but it's just coming from the center of the Earth.
Every volcano has its own pattern of eruptions. Mount Yasur has been erupting every few minutes, more or less continuously, for centuries. From a lava chamber deep below the surface, vast gas bubbles rise, exploding from vents in a shower of molten rock.
Absolutely speechless.
Believe it or not, there are people who live on the mineral-rich slopes of this volcano. Chief Jimmy Namri and his nephew Philip have walked up from their tribal village just 100 feet below, which they believe has a unique spiritual relationship with Mount Yasur.
The traditions of your tribe, they revolve around the life of the volcano, is that right?
Amara ipagat ko. Amara ipagat yasur. Nano mayorji. Amangyari min amding yo. Kini na mayak no matramu ramu masit kanila. Yanam yan yakamani maman.
Without volcano, he can't live. He can't survive. So Yasur is his god. It's his hellburn.
How do the tribe deal with the threat of the danger from the volcano?
In Samara Katamin, Babur Mama Katama, there, Mabaru.
Every time they have a respect.
I see.
It's a way of respect.
Yeah.
And the only way is, before you come here, go to Chief Jimmy. You'll be safe. Like now.
Like we are. Yeah, well, we're with the chief.
Yes.
We're okay.
Yeah.
We're okay. Yeah.
For generations, Mount Yasur has sustained the belief system of Chief Jimmy's tribe. And when you stand on the edge, it's not hard to see why. But being at the mercy of the elements isn't Vanuatu's only claim to fame. In fact, with well over 100 different tribal languages, it's also one of the most linguistically diverse nations on the planet. Dubbed the New Hebrides by Captain Cook, it was colonised jointly by the British and French till its independence in 1980. But Vanuatu still clings proudly to its traditions in this age of globalisation. And yet, the outside world still manages to filter deep into Vanuatu's jungles, often in strangely unexpected ways. Nowhere more so than in the remote village of Yakel on Tanna Island. With the help of translator Jean-Pascal Wahe and gifts of rice and chicken, I'm meeting the elders of a tribe who have long believed that Prince Philip, the late husband of our Queen Elizabeth, is their god.
Chief, we bring you this as a sign of our respect from us with England and our links with your people. We hope that you are happy with this.
Madam Trawa, Kama, and Gary Wagon, Ginamu, Matulani, Little Kunni.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Prince Philip never visited Tanna Island, and I'm hoping to find out how they ended up worshipping him. As the entire village welcomes me with song and dance, I'm glad to see their unusual beliefs haven't changed their ancient way of life. The tribe's most prized possession is a healthy herd of pigs. And now it's feeding time.
Sorry.
Throughout Vanuatu, pigs are symbols of wealth and status, essential to an economy that still relies on bartering.
Yeah, the pig more important because we buy the woman with the pigs and
Oh yeah.
yes, when the newborn baby, you can have to kill the pigs to make celebration for him.
Okay, so it's not eaten every day. It's a special
Yeah.
thing when you have a pig. Yeah.
Certain favourite pigs are treated almost as honorary humans.
Piggy, pig, 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 pig.
Thanks to the fertile volcanic soil, it seems the tribe want for nothing.
Sweet potato mixed with coconut milk.
And they believe in sharing everything.
I might not eat the chicken right now, though.
No.
At last, Albie, a tribal elder, is ready to tell me about the Prince Philip cult.
Lamala, Imam Dr. Agustin, Philip. Nay, come on, him, Adoma wagon, Rasa wagon, Nasayu, Nasol Nagum, Nasol Nian, Nasol Nakia.
When Prince Philip married Princess Elizabeth in 1947, it was more than a royal wedding. It was also the long-awaited fulfillment of an ancient prophecy. The son of the mountain god had found his great and powerful wife.
Before we know England, the story is already told in the past.
I see.
So our prophecy of what we are believing are inside that man who married the daughter of the King of England.
Right, so it was the marriage that
Yes.
triggered it, that
Yes.
kicked things off.
For decades, this village revered Prince Philip from afar. Then, in 2007, Albie and 4 other elders were offered the chance to travel to Britain, where they finally met their idol face to face.
Yawa, Alvi. Yaman lap kuali Philip maling. Kigling angin, nialing daging kapakwa. Mawon dia.
And what was his reaction? Was he...
Dia mau saya malam husband ni. Hasil buat tanah. Lima masuk. Masuklah. Nasimen lah. Kita kami sama dia nak kaitan makafage ni bangin dia kamar.
We've brought you a slightly more updated photograph of Prince Philip from, I think, 2 years ago, which we'd like to give you. There we go.
Nama menima ingin bangin Philip. Kini lagi kelangan duit. Ini bangin kapomlu ini janganlah hukum nak. Ik takamu. Wah, Philip lalu yang ada.
Thank you so much. And really appreciate what the gift.
Good, my pleasure.
And,
Pleasure.
I'm full of emotion
Oh.
that you give this to me.
Boom, boom.
Before my visit here comes to an end, the chief has one more important message for me.
Mm-hmm.
Kalau kita iba nasa lang mga iluplik mong kota mo. Kanyay yung macam ni pasal Vanuatu pun, memang in senam Philip mau beli hal. Kini kema nama mana kapan kini ilmu memang tulis sebenarnya dua tahun kan, dua tahun kan, bahawa ini mau kota dah sejilan. Mami mama.
Another elder presents me with a carved staff.
Ah, that's amazing. Thank you. Thank you very much.
It's a symbol of the bond between Britain and this village that will last beyond the death of Prince Philip.
You can see it.
Across the Pacific, the ghosts of the British Empire linger on. Sometimes the legacy is warm, like the cult of Prince Philip. But sometimes the anger, like Vanuatu's volcanoes, still boils furiously below the surface. If you, like me, thought Tonga was one single island, you, like me, would be wrong. In the heart of the Southwest Pacific, Tonga has over 170 islands. By far the biggest and most significant is Tongatapu. Tongatapu is home to around 75,000 Tongans, more than 2/3 of the population. They're descendants of the seafaring Polynesians who voyaged thousands of miles north to Hawaii, east to Tahiti, and south to New Zealand. Tongans are proud of these faraway connections. But they're also proud of the one thing that makes them unique. Never colonized by European powers, Tonga is the only Pacific island monarchy that still survives intact. Tonga's king, Tupou VI, is heir to a royal line that goes back centuries. The modern red and white royal palace, built of New Zealand kauri wood, is a mere 150 years old. But Tonga Tapu is also littered with ancient stone ruins. Royal tombs that date back nearly 1,000 years to a time when Tongan kings controlled 500,000 miles of ocean. Just as ancient is a giant stone arch that's been called Polynesia's Stonehenge, not least because so little is known about it.
Do we know? Or people just guess how they built it?
I think this is a mystery.
It is. Is it? You see, it's right. Same.
Some say it was built to align with sunrise on the longest day. Others say it was a gateway to a long-vanished palace compound. As my guide, Willie Lousy, points out, a nearby standing stone, equally ancient, is a clue that this place was indeed the sacred centre of the Tongan Empire.
That's where His Majesty was sitting.
I see.
And then leaning against this, yeah?
And so you imagine he might have held court here?
Yeah.
Similar stone seats found throughout Polynesia are known to be ancient royal thrones. And as any Tongan will tell you, this one probably predates them all.
And modern Tongans are in touch with their own history?
Yeah.
Is there an involvement with young people with the history of the island?
Absolutely.
There is?
There is. I mean, it's one of those sacred spaces that's beautifully preserved, you know, and I think it is a privilege to grow up and we still have that royal blood and a royal family. Hopefully it will last for the next generation to come.
So you do think it's the best island in Polynesia? That's what you're saying?
Yes.
For centuries, the Tongans successfully held out against foreign rulers. But they were less successful when confronted by British Christian missionaries. In the 1830s, the missionaries converted the king, George Tupou I, who in turn converted the nation. Now crammed with colourful Polynesian-style churches of every denomination, Tonga is one of the most devoutly Christian countries on earth. On Sundays, almost everything is shut, by law, apart from the churches, which in some ways makes Tonga a pretty conservative place. All the more surprising, then, to find that Tongans have long embraced something we Westerners still struggle with. The idea that gender can be a more fluid thing than simply male and female. Here at the Catholic Basilica of St. Anthony of Padua, Joey Mataele, also known as Jolene, has long been a highly respected member of the congregation. Joey is what's known in Tonga as a leiti.
We go through that one.
Do you enjoy singing?
It's a traditional role in Tongan society that's considered neither man nor woman.
Beautiful. Bye, Auntie. Very nice to meet you, too.
Born male, but often wearing feminine clothes, leitis are raised from childhood to fulfill particular functions in Tongan life.
Father, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for your welcome. Thank you.
We know from the accounts of explorers like Captain Cook that Polynesia's third gender custom dates back centuries. Today, as always, Tonga's leitis are often found working behind the scenes at traditional events and banquets.
Ready to chop chop?
Chop, chop. Yeah, what have we got there? Ginger, garlic.
Ginger, garlic, and onion.
You want me to chop all that up?
Yeah.
This is a big fat.
Right now, I'm at Joey's house, helping to prepare for a hearty Tongan Sunday lunch.
Yeah, I know. Traditions mean a lot to Tongans, do they?
Very much.
And where does the tradition of leiti fit fit in with the Tongan historically?
Well, leiti really it was already part of our, culture and tradition.
Yeah.
They were there before, way before Christianity came into our shores.
Right.
Because we believed that there were gods, there were goddesses who were both male and female.
Right.
These were idols that were worshipped.
Right.
When missionaries came, they totally banned that.
They did.
They only gave us one god and that's it.
While the missionaries got rid of the Polynesian gods, somehow the leiti custom survived. Following that custom, the young Joey's family recognized and raised him as a leiti. Although sadly, by then, Western attitudes were beginning to take their toll.
Did you have a happy school life? Were you a happy school child? Or was it difficult?
It was very difficult because I ended up leaving school when I was 14 years old. And I've never been back because
you were bullied?
Well, very much bullied, harassed, abused.
As an adult, Joey, or Jolene, has become a leading campaigner against discrimination.
It doesn't just happen to our leiti community, it does happen to women and children at the same time,
Really?
Yeah, so there's a lot that needs to be done. There's a lot of things that needs to be amended in our laws and everything so it doesn't hurt anyone,
And you're involved with that?
And I'm very much involved with it, yeah. Yeah, that's why I think I'm still alive.
As well as campaigning, Joey runs an annual Miss Galaxy competition, which gives Tonga's leitis a chance to celebrate their identity. But right now, lunch is served. And amongst Joey's guests, we're honoured to have Princess Frederica, the third daughter of the king.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Bon appetit.
This is my favorite.
Princess Frederica, like many in the royal family, believes leitis are an important part of their heritage.
I'm going to try some of your chili sauce now. What was the traditional place of the leiti?
And because we have a conservative culture, the ladies could move freely between men and women. Whereas, with us women, if I'm drinking here and I have some male cousins, we can't really relax together in that way. They'll be drinking on a separate table. Then all of a sudden you'll hear them laughing. They're like, hey, what are you laughing about? And then they'll, you get a filtered, G-rated version of whatever it was that they were discussing. But with the ladies can come and sit with us, or they can go sit with the boys, and there's nothing.
That's interesting. That's really interesting. Because there's that clear sense of male identity, isn't there?
When with the males.
Yeah.
And then when they're with us girls, they're just one of the girls. Entirely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mash it because we didn't have
There's another great tradition here, of sharing what you have in lavish spreads like this one. But that's unfortunately now also troubled by influences from the outside world. Today, a growing army of ordinary Tongans are trying their best to beat a dangerous national health crisis.
Keep it moving.
Custom here says being big is a sign of wealth. But these days, with a flood of imported junk food full of fat and sugar, diabetes and heart disease have skyrocketed.
Lower your hips.
Now nearly 70% of adults are clinically obese, making Tonga one of the heaviest nations on the planet.
Move ball.
Tonga's King Tupou IV, who died in 2012, still holds the record as the world's heaviest ever monarch at 209 kilograms. This is just one of many fit clubs now springing up across Tonga.
Everyone seems to enjoy it, don't they? It's a happy atmosphere, isn't it?
There's always food around, and then, there's pressure. Oh, you're getting too skinny, eat up, the Tongan way. But it's slowly turning around for us.
I have to exercise because I'm really old now and everything's seizing up, so I need to exercise. But it's really hard on your own. Do you think it's helpful having a group of friends to do it with?
Yes, it is. It's really helpful because in this group we actually encourage each other.
Yeah.
And help each other.
Well, I salute you. Congratulations. Brilliant. Good luck.
There are no professional trainers in this fit club, just people who've transformed their own lives, now persuading others to do the same. Tongans are rightly proud of their long, independent history. I really hope they figure out healthy ways to accommodate the modern world without losing their legendary Polynesian tolerance and generosity. Now it's time for me to move on to Fiji, a tropical paradise haunted by shadows of the recent past. If you're looking for the ultimate Pacific paradise, Fiji is a pretty good place to start. 500 miles west of Tonga, Fiji has more than 330 islands awaiting the keen adventurer. Almost all of them clad in lush tropical jungle. In good times, nearly 1 million visitors a year come in search of Fiji's wild side, including hundreds of miles of palm-fringed shores, dozens of picture-perfect waterfalls, and some irresistible fresh mountain pools. But most tourists probably don't appreciate the most fascinating thing about Fiji: its people. Because if any country has top claim to be the Pacific Ocean's melting pot, this is it. You can see what I mean in the capital city of Suva, where the Saturday market is a rainbow of flowers, food and faces. Most are indigenous Fijian, themselves a product of different ancestors. Polynesian from the east, and Melanesian from the west.
What are these?
Gundi.
Gundi?
Yeah.
What are they?
You can peel it like this and eat. It's like banana. It's nice.
Amazing. I wish I had a kitchen with me, then I could cook all this lovely stuff, yeah? Huh?
You should take us to cook your food.
I'll take you, yes.
Yeah.
Come on then.
Fiji also has another surprising yet crucial cultural ingredient.
Try, yes, I've never tried that. Sweet. Thank you.
Very nice.
Because 1 out of every 3 Fijians is descended from Indian immigrants.
When it went green, you make curry out of it.
Thank you.
Their ancestors were contract labourers, shipped here in the late 19th century by guess who? The British. Over 4 decades, more than 60,000 Indians were brought here to work on British plantations of sugar, banana and coffee. Conditions were often little better than slavery, and though many thought they'd eventually return home, very few did. Their descendants have worked hard for a better life, yet many Fijian Indians still cling proudly to their traditions and their faith. In the city of Nandi, you can't miss this colourful symbol of Indian life, the largest Hindu temple anywhere south of the equator. The Sri Siva Subramanya temple has spared no expense,
Oh, look up here.
hiring some of India's finest artists to create these Hindu gods and monsters. While I'm here, I make an offering to Ganesh, the god of wisdom, success and good luck. But you don't have to be Hindu to appreciate Fiji's rich mix of traditions. And there's surely no better advert for this country's cultural cocktail than local cab driver Sam Ali.
33, 34 degrees at the moment. My father was a Muslim. My mom, she's a Christian, but converted to Muslim. I'm a Muslim, but I'm married to a Hindu girl. So it's pretty much blended, mixed up.
So is that quite representative of modern Fijian life?
That's it. That's the way.
Embodied in you?
Yes. Everybody has a free, equal right to preach their religion. If you go in a village, there's a church there. Opposite, there's a Hindu temple there. Furthermore, there's a mosque there. So there's no drama.
I love Sam's upbeat view of Fiji's social harmony. And as if to prove just how sweet life is here,
I'm enjoying the flavours in my mouth.
he insists I try another local Indian tradition.
So this is the sweetness of the Indian community in Fiji. How's it?
Yeah, really nice.
I hope you liked it.
Yeah, I did. It was lovely. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
But Fiji hasn't always been a land of friendly smiles. In the 1980s, tensions between the Indian population and the indigenous Fijians triggered a ruthless military coup. More coups followed, and for a while the country was thrown out of the Commonwealth. So while in Vanuatu they were worshipping the Queen's husband, here in Fiji they were taking Her Majesty's picture off the walls. Thankfully, in 2014, democracy was restored, and since then life's been a lot calmer. But there are those who believe that the past should never be forgotten.
Nice.
Oh, hello. Pula,
Bula, bula, bula.
pula. You must be Martin.
I am. You must be Liza.
Nice to meet you. I need a hug, a big hug.
Singer Lysa Vulakoro is one of Fiji's national treasures. She's recorded 16 albums in her trademark style called Vunde. It usually has a funky disco beat, but today I'm getting the unplugged version, with Lysa's nephew Marika on guitar. It's kind of appropriate because Lysa is also passionate about her musical roots in a small Fijian village.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Well, when did you start singing, or were you just born singing?
I've always wanted to become a singer. Like in school, they would ask, what would you like to be when you grow up? And my cousins would say, I'd like to be a teacher. Another cousin would say, I'd like to be a doctor. And Lysa, I'd like to be a star. And they said, what is that? I said, a singer, a star, a singer. And I didn't know what that really meant, except the star is up there and that's where I'm going.
Right, so you're more than a singer, a
Yes,
star.
yes. I do songs about different parts of Fiji. So people, they feel like they belong, they own the songs.
Your music is based in tradition.
Yes.
Would you play us a Vunde?
Vunde?
Yeah.
The song is called Tauriau, Tauriau, meaning my heart has been broken into so many pieces. Tauriau, le tauriau, isalei nanogu senikau, oilele.
Lysa's music doesn't take sides. It's made her a star all over the Pacific. But when she protested against the last military coup, fame wasn't any kind of protection.
You're quite outspoken, aren't you? You've used your fame to make point.
That's why I get into trouble all the time.
In what way?
What they did to me in 2006.
What?
They came and took me from here, took me up to the camp.
Under what pretense? What did they say?
Oh, because I was speaking out against the coup. And then I said, no, you can't tell me to keep quiet because I'm telling the truth. You guys should not do this. Should give the government back to the rightful people who we elected. I was not the only one. There was a few other people that got taken up to camp and got tortured and, yeah.
Tortured?
Yes, they beat us and make us run around, and they strip me in the cell, take off my clothes. Yeah, so I'm not afraid to talk about it. You can.
It's terrifying, though.
Yeah, but everything is okay with me now. I think they leave me alone.
Right.
Yeah, which is good.
Yeah, it is good.
I take my hat off to Lysa. She's not been afraid to stand up to bullies in the name of freedom, and she's used her music to bring people together. Fiji's recent troubles are, at least in part, the lasting echoes of a British imperial past. Right now, there's political calm here. But for one remote island tribe, the past is still an open wound. The islands of Fiji are home to about 1 million people, and most are proud to call themselves Fijian. But on one of Fiji's remoter islands lives a tribe who don't see themselves as Fijian at all.
Maori, how do you do?
Oh, and how do you do? It's a pleasure.
Karia Christopher is leader of the Banaban people. They've lived here on Rambi Island for the past 70 years, and yet they've never considered it their true home. Before coming to Rambi, the Banabans lived 1,000 miles away on a place called Ocean Island, which means the Banaban language and customs belong to a completely different part of the Pacific. And as I'm finding out, they are some of the friendliest people you could hope to meet. And it's nice to have my dancing skills properly appreciated.
Kamrapa! I need to lie down now.
So how did the Banabans end up here on Rambi Island, so very far from home? The Banaban way of telling their story, as you've probably gathered, is through music and dance. It begins back on Ocean Island in more innocent times, when life's biggest challenges were crossing the reef to go fishing and finding fresh water in underground caves. But everything was about to change. In 1900, a British mining company discovered that Ocean Island was unusually rich in phosphate, worth a fortune in the farming industry. So they persuaded the Banabans to lease them land for mining. They told them that money would transform their quality of life, though in fact, the islanders could do little with the cash. So the Banabans had to watch as their island was slowly destroyed by phosphate mines. After the upheavals of the Second World War, the mining company hatched an outrageous plan to get the Banabans out of the way for good.
The company was wanting them to be moved out of Ocean Island entirely, so they can have the whole island to themselves, mine out the whole, without disruptions from the landowners. So they were shipped, displaced across to Rambi. And they were actually...
A handful of elders who still remember it have joined us to explain how the mining company made all sorts of hollow promises to persuade them to relocate.
When you go to Rambi, you will have your homes, living in two-story building homes and cars on the island. Like they were assured. They were not given choices to choose whether they want to come here or to stay.
1,003 people came on that boat and disembarked here. And they were housed in army tents that were erected in the fields where we just came back from. So they lived in those army tents for more than a year.
Worse was yet to come. Now exiles from their homeland, the Banabans were almost wiped out by ferocious cyclones, which they'd never experienced on Ocean Island.
Must have taken a long time to sort of realize that this is it. This is us now on Rambi.
Sikawa. Like they feel pity for themselves. Like they've been cheated, that's what they always say.
Well, they were cheated.
Mining on Ocean Island ceased in 1979, and though the mining company made promises to restore the landscape, it's been left almost uninhabitable. Most Banabans have never seen their homeland.
This was us, was it?
No, it wasn't you.
There wasn't. No, it wasn't me.
there.
The British, though. It was. I'm very sorry on behalf of my forebears.
Thank you.
I genuinely am.
There's no doubt the Banabans have had a really raw deal. But there's some good news, as the younger generation makes the most of the one thing that Rambi Island has in abundance. This little business buys up coconuts from the locals.
People, they come, they bring coconuts, and then we weigh their coconuts, and we pay them. We pay in kilos.
You pay them hard
Yes.
cash, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
hard cash.
We're so
Tera Ruby Kaipati is one of the all-female team in charge.
Out of that.
And all run by women. The whole,
Yes,
yeah.
the whole
Yeah.
island.
The whole island
The
is
whole
run by
island.
women. Yeah.
They transform Rambi's coconuts into a much-needed source of income.
Oh, it's a jack.
Yeah.
It's a car jack.
Yeah.
Look at that. So is that what I buy if I go to the supermarket in England and it says coconut milk, or coconut cream?
It's sweet. Tasty.
That's lovely. That's the best use of a car jack I ever saw.
As I'm now masterfully demonstrating, the coconut flesh mixed with water is pressed.
Strength, not to be fit.
All
It's
right.
really fit.
Don't pick on me.
The cream is fermented to separate out the oil.
It's pretty labor intensive, isn't it? There's a lot of work.
Which is turned into a range of products for cooking, medicinal use, or with natural added aromas for massage therapy.
Island gardenia, wow. Oh, that smells lovely. And this you would use for massage, yeah?
Yes.
Well, that's dreamy. Feel a rub down coming on. Oh, it's just...
When you go this way, the lady's gonna follow you.
Do you reckon?
They can smell the
I'm going to do well on this island.
This business is helping the Banabans to build themselves a better future. And since they're unlikely to return to Ocean Island any day soon, perhaps now Rambi is starting to feel a little bit more like home. It's been fascinating to discover how rich and diverse this part of the Pacific is, with so many surprising connections, past and present, to the rest of the planet.
You know, before I came out here, I thought that Fiji was one island, I thought that Tonga was one island, and I'd never even heard of Vanuatu. What I found really exciting is they're all very different, and they're all very much alive in the modern world, but they're all completely in touch with their cultures and their traditions, and those are based on real things like having enough to eat, having a shelter, being in touch with the mountain and the volcano, and I really like that.
Next time, I'll be exploring the legendary Galapagos. Meeting the resident creatures.
That was amazing. They're just like dogs. What a treat.
And the lesser-known local humans.
We feel kind of in love with the baby.
Yeah, no, I'm getting it a bit. I'm welling up a bit, actually.
Well, we see tears as our contestants try to climb the money ladder. Saturday at 8:30, sisters Sarah and Amy return to take on new Ant and Dec's Limitless Win. For more sun-drenched shores and some new faces, drama at the Good Karma Hospital returns for a new series Sunday at 8. Then starting Sunday at 9, a terrorist campaign threatens the capital in our new thriller, Trigger Point.